There exists a place on this earth from which, if anyone strays into it by mistake, they never return. This place is a triangular region located in the Atlantic Ocean, situated between Bermuda Island, Miami, and Puerto Rico, a region the entire world knows as the Bermuda Triangle. Yet, in reality, no one knows exactly how vast the boundaries of this triangle truly extend, and due to this uncertainty, thousands of ships have met with disaster. As of 2020, nearly 2,000 ships and over 200 aircraft have vanished after entering this area. Astonishingly, not even the wreckage of these vessels has ever been found. Many claim that this place is controlled by aliens. Others suggest it is the dominion of some marine monster, a creature that destroys anyone who attempts to cross through its territory. What is truly astonishing is that despite our modern technology being so advanced that we can sit here on Earth and observe minute details on distant planets millions of kilometers away, we have utterly failed to locate even the smallest trace of the ships lost within this tiny region of our own planet, the Bermuda Triangle. We have even failed to recover a single body from this place. It is even conceivable that this small region is not, in fact, a part of Earth at all. In today's video, you will discover the true solution to the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle. Welcome to another brand new episode of the Deep Mystery Channel. December 4th, 1970. Pilot Bruce Jernan took off from Andros Island bound for the Florida coast, accompanied by his business partner. At that time, this specific area was not yet considered part of the Bermuda Triangle. Moreover, this route was nothing new to Bruce, as he had traversed it many times before. Consequently, Bruce flew onward without a single worry. Little did he know, however, that this particular journey would become an experience etched in his memory forever. Shortly after Bruce began his flight, a bizarre phenomenon suddenly unfolded before him. A violent storm erupted directly in his path, and the entire surroundings became shrouded in pitch-black clouds. Although Bruce initially assumed it was merely an ordinary storm, he proceeded to fly straight through the dark clouds, expecting a routine passage. Up to that point, everything had been perfect. He had encountered absolutely no difficulties. However, the moment the plane reached an altitude of 11,500 feet, dark clouds once again appeared directly in front of it. The cloud formation looked like a twisting tunnel. Because the cloud appeared so suddenly right in his path, he had no time to react and flew straight into it. As soon as Bruce entered this cloud-shaped tunnel, he became enveloped in total darkness. It all felt completely overwhelming to Bruce. He had never encountered a cloud of this nature before, for it was entirely different from ordinary storm clouds. Then suddenly, flashes of white light began to erupt. It was much like lightning, yet there was no accompanying sound, nor was there any rainfall in the surrounding area. Moreover, this light was far more intense than ordinary lightning, spreading out around his plane like a luminous web. For nearly 20 minutes, Bruce continued to fly his plane deep within this cloud. Suddenly, he realized that this was the very same cloud formation he had spotted earlier at an altitude of 11,000 feet. The only difference being that, at this stage, it had taken the form of a twisting tunnel. At that moment, Bruce was situated right in the middle of this winding passage. He was terrified, convinced that he would never be able to escape this trap, for he could see no exit road ahead of him. But then, quite suddenly, a strange phenomenon occurred. A light flared up directly in front of Bruce. It appeared as though the tunnel was coming to an end. With this hope in mind, Bruce steered his plane forward. However, the moment he reached the point where the light appeared to end, the plane seemed to shudder and contract. Simultaneously, the aircraft's navigational instruments began to behave erratically. The compass spun wildly, repeatedly shifting direction on its own, while various electronic systems began activating automatically. It felt as though some supernatural force had taken control of the aircraft, as if the plane were being manipulated by an external entity. Bruce struggled desperately to regain control of the plane, but he found himself unable to manipulate any of the instruments. They continued to operate autonomously. Even more alarming was the fact that despite his efforts, the plane continued to hurtle relentlessly toward the tunnel's terminus. For nearly 20 minutes, Bruce's plane continued to sway and lurch in this manner, ascending through that swirling, cloud-shaped tunnel. Then, with a sudden jolt, the plane burst free from the cloud tunnel. Yet, what had transpired during those 20 minutes was something that could never possibly occur on Earth. Upon emerging from this mysterious cloud, Bruce began to feel a sense of weightlessness, much like what astronauts experience when they escape the pull of Earth's gravity. Thereafter, everything returned to normal. All of the aircraft's instruments resumed functioning perfectly. Bruce had no idea where he had been flying the plane during those 20 minutes. Consequently, he contacted ground control. However, when ground control's radar tracked the location of Bruce's plane, they detected no signal from any aircraft in that area. Shortly thereafter, the control room informed him that his plane had already exited their airspace and was heading toward Miami's airspace. But how was this possible? After all, Bruce's journey covered a distance of approximately 400 kilometers, a trip that typically takes about 90 minutes to complete. Yet he had been flying for only 47 minutes. The aircraft he was piloting had a cruising speed of 290 kilometers per hour. This meant that at that speed, it was physically impossible for the plane to cover a distance of 400 kilometers in just 47 minutes. Bruce, therefore, suspected that ground control might have provided him with incorrect information. However, all his doubts were instantly dispelled. As it turned out, ground control's information was entirely accurate. Miami's airport lay directly ahead of him. Finally, after landing at the Miami airport, he checked his fuel levels, and what he saw left him utterly dumbfounded. The fuel tank still held half the amount of fuel that should have been consumed during a 400-kilometer journey. In other words, the plane had consumed only enough fuel to cover a distance of 200 kilometers. He was left deeply perplexed. Given that the route from Andros Island to Miami spans 400 kilometers, how could he have possibly reached his destination after traveling a mere 200 kilometers? Seeking a solution to this mystery, Bruce consulted with numerous professors. Yet, none of them could provide him with a definitive answer. On the contrary, they insisted that the error must have been Bruce's own. To this day, hundreds of aircraft have vanished in this very region. With the exception of a very few, the wreckage of these planes has never been recovered, nor have the bodies of any of the passengers ever been found. Consequently, this area has become the subject of intense speculation among many. Numerous theories have been formulated to explain the phenomena occurring here. Some claim that the region is controlled by mysterious marine entities. The place continues to be a source of immense curiosity for many. One particular theory proposed to explain this incident suggests that dark energy played a role in the fate of Bruce's plane. According to scientists, dark energy is a force capable of warping the fabric of space-time, much like a black hole, to create a kind of tunnel or wormhole. Such a phenomenon would make it possible to traverse distances spanning hundreds of thousands of kilometers in a matter of mere minutes. Bruce likely entered just such a tunnel, and fortunately, he even managed to successfully emerge from it. As a result, he covered a distance of 400 kilometers in a mere 47 minutes. However, dark energy remains a concept that scientists have, to this day, failed to accurately explain. Bruce is the only individual known to have survived and returned from the Bermuda Triangle, yet the mystery behind his return remains an unsolved enigma. Typically, it takes 90 minutes to traverse a distance of 400 kilometers, so how did Bruce manage to cover it in just 47? Furthermore, why have the wreckage of hundreds of ships and the bodies of the deceased never been recovered from that region? If you happen to know the answers to these two questions, please be sure to let us know in the comments section. That brings us to the end of today's video. If you would like to learn about mysterious ghostly aircraft phenomena, you can click on the end screen to watch the corresponding video. For now, I bid you farewell. We will meet again in the next episode.